What if you could genuinely control every single screen in your home, maybe your business too, showing exactly what you want instantly? No tangled cables, no, manual swapping. It sounds almost futuristic, right? But that's the promise we're exploring today with advanced audiovisual distribution. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a really powerful piece of tech that's right at the heart of these systems. It's the WolfPack 4K 30Hz 4x4 HDMI Matrix Switcher, and our sources for this. They're straight from the detailed product info, giving us a real insider's look at what it can do. Our mission here is pretty straightforward. Unpack what makes this specific device tick, how it tackles those common, annoying AV challenges, and why it's becoming such a go-to solution. Think sports bars, fancy home theaters, you name it. By the end, you'll have a much clearer picture of what a matrix switcher actually does and why its features genuinely matter if you're juggling multiple screens and sources. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. To start, what's the fundamental problem, like the core issue this kind of device actually solves? Why is it so, essential for modern AV setups?
Right. Well, at its core, you can think of an HDMI matrix switcher as a central command hub. Imagine you've got multiple video and audio sources.
Like streaming boxes, consoles?
Exactly. A
Yeah.
streaming device, a gaming console, maybe a cable box. And you want to send any one of those signals to any of your multiple displays, TVs, projectors, monitors, totally independently.
Independently. That's the key.
That's the absolute key.
Yeah.
The flexibility. You can send, say, input 1 to output 3, input 2 to output 1, or even send input 1 to all your outputs at the same time. So this capability, it really streamlines those complex AV environments. It cuts out the need for, manually swapping HDMI cables.
Which is always a pain.
Always.
Yeah.
Or that frustration of why is nothing showing on the screen? Or even needing like multiple Blu-ray players just to feed different displays.
Yeah.
It's all about efficient, seamless control. Puts you in charge.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. The why is clear now. So let's zoom in on this specific WolfPack, the 4K 30Hz 4x4 model. From looking at the sources, its modularity really jumps out. Can you tell us more about how that 9x9 chassis design, even though it starts as a 4x4, fundamentally changes the game? I mean, for scalability, long-term value, is it just about adding more cards, or is there more to it?
Yeah, that's a great question because the modularity is genuinely a key differentiator here. So this specific WolfPack unit, it comes pre-configured as a 4x4 system. That means 4 4K HDMI input cards, 4 4K HDMI output cards all ready to go. But here's the clever part, as you noted. It's built around this robust 9x9 chassis backplane.
Okay.
So it's not just about what it is today.
Yeah.
Right? It's about what it can become. You've got 5 extra input slots and 5 extra output slots just sitting there, empty.
Ah, right. Room to grow.
Precisely. Room to grow. You can scale it up to a total of 9 inputs and 9 outputs just by slotting in more cards later, if and when your needs expand. This kind of expandability, it offers significant long-term flexibility. It basically protects your initial investment because you can upgrade the core system instead of having to rip it out and replace it entirely.
Are there any downsides to that? Maybe cost?
Well, yeah, potentially. The initial cost may be slightly higher than, say, a fixed-port 4x4 system that can't be expanded, but, you weigh that against the long-term savings of not having to buy a whole new larger chassis down the road if you need, say, a 6x6 or an 8x8 setup. Often it works out better.
Makes sense. And the specs, what does it handle?
So spec-wise, it's 4K at 30 Hz compliant. It supports HDMI 2.0, and importantly, it's HDCP 2.3 compliant.
Okay, what does that mean in practical terms for someone using it?
It means compatibility, basically. Full compatibility with pretty much all modern devices and content. Your latest streaming services, high-end Blu-ray players, gaming consoles. You shouldn't run into those frustrating content protection errors or find out it doesn't support the standard your new TV uses. It keeps things working smoothly.
That modularity definitely sounds like a smart long-term play. But thinking about day-to-day use, beyond just adding more ports later, how does this WolfPack actually perform? Are there built-in features that just make the whole experience less frustrating?
Absolutely. They've built in features that really improve the user experience quite a bit. For instance, they talk about fast switching.
Fast switching.
Yeah, and what that means in practice is no black, blue, or split screen while switching between your sources.
Yeah.
That awkward pause, that momentary black screen you often get when you change inputs.
Oh, yeah. Drives me crazy.
This is designed to eliminate that. So transitions are seamless, much more professional looking, especially in, say, a commercial setting. It also supports something they call resolution exchanges. This is actually pretty crucial. It means the switcher is smart enough to adapt the signal. So even if you have displays with different native resolutions connected, it works to ensure the content looks its best on each one. often without you needing to manually fiddle with settings.
Hmm.
And being hot pluggable, that's a huge convenience, especially for installers, but also for users. You can swap input or output cards or connect new devices without having to power down the entire system. It minimizes disruption.
Okay, right. So we've covered the core mechanics, the modularity, the sort of smooth operation stuff. But often the real difference with higher-end gear is in those extra enhancements, right? The things that take a system from just functional to actually great. What are some of those next-level features in this WolfPack that might genuinely surprise people or make a big difference in practice?
Yeah, you're right. Beyond just handling the basics well, this system adds what I'd call maybe pro-level convenience features. Take the 40 preset scenes capability.
40 presets. What would you use that for?
Well, it's not just a number. It's a real game changer for dynamic environments. Imagine that sports bar again. It's game day. Instead of an employee frantically trying to switch individual screens or inputs, you could have presets saved. So preset 1, all screens show the pregame analysis. Tap. Preset 2, main game on the big screens, stats on the smaller ones. Tap. Preset 3, post-game highlights everywhere. Tap. You recall these complex source of display configurations instantly.
Ah, I see. It eliminates that on-the-fly stress and potential mistakes.
Exactly. Makes it foolproof, almost, and ensures a really smooth experience for the customers. Plus, for accessibility, which is increasingly important, it offers closed caption pass-through. So captions aren't locked in the switching process.
You know, you mentioned compatibility earlier. I remember spending an entire afternoon once trying to figure out why a new games console just wouldn't display properly on a projector. Turned out it was something called EDID. I see this as Advanced EDID Management. Could that have saved me that headache?
Oh, almost certainly.
Yeah.
That's a classic frustrating problem.
Right.
And that's precisely where Advanced EDID Management comes in. EDID, it's essentially the way your display communicates its capabilities, like supported resolutions and audio formats back to the source device.
Yeah.
If that communication, that handshake, goes wrong, you get exactly what you described. A black screen, maybe a distorted picture, no audio.
Right.
This WolfPack unit has 8 programmable memory presets specifically for EDID information. You can load these presets to any source input. So it intelligently manages those handshakes, forcing the source to send a signal the display can understand, even if the display is being a bit difficult or non-standard.
So it basically irons out those compatibility wrinkles automatically.
Pretty much. It helps you sidestep those compatibility nightmares and avoids hours of pulling your hair out trying to troubleshoot.
Okay, that sounds genuinely useful. What about reliability? Especially for commercial use, you can't have these things failing.
No, absolutely not. So it's designed for reliability. They mention it supports long-haul transmissions, meaning it maintains signal quality over longer cable runs than standard HDMI usually allows, which is often needed in larger spaces. Crucially, it also maintains power reliability in the event of failure. This often means things like redundant power supply options are available. So if one power source fails, the system keeps running off the backup. That's vital in commercial settings where downtime equals lost revenue.
And support, if something does go wrong.
That seems pretty robust too. It comes with a 2-year WolfPack Care Advance Replace warranty, meaning they send a replacement unit out quickly, often before you even send the faulty one back. And free lifetime telephone, chat, texty, and email tech support. That level of support definitely shows confidence in the product's durability.
This sounds incredibly powerful, really robust. But how do you actually use it? With all this capability, you wouldn't want it to be, a nightmare to operate day to day. The sources mention a whole bunch of control options. That seems like a big deal.
It really is. Control flexibility is definitely a significant strength here. They offer a whole multitude of ways to interface with it, which is smart because it caters to everyone from, say, a home user who just wants something simple to a professional integrator installing it in a complex commercial environment.
Okay, so what are the options?
Well, for starters, you got the basics covered. There are push buttons right there on the front panel of the unit itself for direct control.
Simple enough.
Then there's a built-in Web GUI. You just access it through a web browser on any computer connected to the same network. It gives you a nice visual interface, drag and drop sometimes, making it easy to see what's going where. And there's an RS-232 serial port for more traditional direct integration with control systems.
Okay, browser control is handy. What about apps? Everyone wants an app these days.
They've got that covered too. Free iOS apps, so for your iPad, iPhone, iPod Touch, and free Android apps for Android tablets and phones, including specific mentions for Samsung Galaxy devices. So you get intuitive handheld control right from your pocket or tablet from anywhere in the room, really.
Nice. And for the pros, the integrators setting up smart homes or big commercial jobs.
Yeah, that's where it gets even more integrated. It comes with free one-way Control 4 drivers, which is a popular automation system. And they offer optional drivers for other major control systems like URC, Crestron, Elan, and RTI. So this means the WolfPack switcher can become just another device within your larger smart home or building automation system, controlled seamlessly alongside lights, climate, security, everything else.
So it plays nice with others, basically.
Exactly. And for the real experts, the AV professionals who need absolutely custom solutions, the manufacturer even provides a simple RS-232 script protocol. This lets them write their own drivers for pretty much any third-party control system out there. AMX, Savant, you name it. They even give an example in the documentation, like to switch input 8 to show on outputs 1, 8, and 16 simultaneously, the command you send over RS-232 is just 8 by 1 on the 8 and 16, followed by a period. Simple as that. The Matrix just replies, OK if it worked, or ERR if there's an issue.
Wow, that level of detail really does empower those custom setups. Okay, so switching gears slightly. With multiple screens potentially far apart, reliable signals are key. The source material mentions HD-BASE-T quite a bit as an optional feature. Can you break that down? What is HD-based technology and why is it such a big deal for a system like this, especially when you're trying to send signals over longer distances where, regular HDMI cables start to fail?
Right, HD-BASE. It's genuinely a game-changer technology for long-distance AV distribution. It really redefines what you can do compared to just using standard HDMI cables. The core idea is that it lets you use standard everyday network cables CT5E, CT6, or SUT7, the same stuff used for computer networks to transmit uncompressed full high-definition multimedia content over really significant distances.
How far are we talking?
We're talking distances from 70 meters, which is about 230 feet, up to 100 meters or 330 feet, depending on specific HD-BASE product variation. That's way beyond the reliable limits of most passive HDMI cables.
Okay, that's impressive.
And here's another really crucial part. HD-BASE-T can also deliver up to 100 watts of electrical power over that same single CCAT cable. This feature is usually called POC, power over cable, or sometimes PoE, power over Ethernet, though POC is more specific here.
Wait, so power and video down one network cable?
Exactly. This means the display end, the HD-BASE receiver box that plugs into the TV or projector, often doesn't need its own separate power adapter plugged into a wall outlet. It gets its power directly from the matrix switcher through the network cable. That simplifies installation massively, especially if power outlets are scarce near the display.
Wow. Okay. So why is it better than other long-distance solutions?
Well, several reasons. Its design is specifically optimized for video applications, ensuring high quality and low latency. It's also designed to be future-proof, with support built in for future 2K and 4K formats beyond what might be common today. And critically, as we said, it utilizes the existing Ethernet infrastructure. You don't need special proprietary, often very expensive fiber optic cables or thick coax. You can often use the CA cabling that might already be installed in a building. That simplifies things and keeps costs down. Reduces cable clutter too, one cable for video, audio control, and power.
That makes a lot of sense. Does it require special handling during installation?
The source material actually gives some good practical tips, like keep the IKE cables away from sources of electromagnetic interference. EMI, things like mobile phones, microwaves, fluorescent lighting ballasts.
Ah, interference.
Yeah, EMI can sometimes cause issues like random video flashes or signal dropouts. They specifically recommend using shielded KT6 or KT7 cables, the ones with foil or braiding inside, and using metal RJ45 connectors. That shielding helps protect the signal integrity from that external electrical noise. It's a good pro tip for ensuring reliability.
Got it. Shielded cable, keep it away from noisy stuff. Okay, so it sounds incredibly versatile, handles control, handles long distances with HD-BASE-T. Given all these features, where are these WolfPack matrix switchers actually ending up? Who's using them in the real world? The sources listed a really wide range of places.
Yeah, it's quite diverse, which speaks to their flexibility, I think. If you connect all these features to the bigger picture, these modular HDMI matrix switchers, they're successfully installed in, well, all sorts of locations. You see them in high-traffic commercial spaces, which makes sense. Sports bars, restaurants, shopping malls, casinos, places where you need reliable, dynamic switching across many screens.
Right, like those preset scenes we talked about.
Exactly. They're also found in institutional settings, schools, universities, places of worship where you need robust AV distribution for presentations or services. And then beyond that, they pop up in more specialized environments too. data centers, maybe for monitoring multiple servers,
Yeah.
high-end gaming rooms, and of course sophisticated home theaters where people want centralized control over all their sources going to different TVs or a projector.
So really broad application. What's the feedback? Why are people choosing them?
Well, according to the user feedback mentioned in the sources, the stated reason for their widespread adoption really comes down to the sheer number of features they pack in compared to competing products at similar price points. They're seen as offering high value for the investment.
And reliability in those demanding spots, how do they ensure that?
They seem to take that seriously. The documentation mentions that each unit goes through a pretty rigorous 5-step testing procedure before it ships. It's not just a quick check. They list it as assembly, then initial testing, then a full 24 hours of aging or burn-in testing, then final testing, and finally a QC inspection just before it gets packed.
Yeah.
That multi-stage process is designed to catch any potential issues, component failures, that sort of thing, before it leaves the factory.
That's quite thorough.
It is. And they even include a simple troubleshooting tip in the docs, just in case something seems off after installation. Basically a hard reset procedure.
Right.
Turn it off, disconnect the matrix from AC power, and unplug all the cables. They carefully pull out each input and output board from the rear slots and push them firmly back in to reseat them. Plug all the cables back in, then turn it on.
Huh. Like the old turn it off and on again, but for hardware modules?
Pretty much. It's a good first step, suggesting that sometimes the connection might just need reseating, and it often resolves minor glitches without needing a full support call. Good to know there's a straightforward thing to try first.
Okay, so we've really journeyed through the details of this WolfPack 4K 30Hz 4x4 HDMI Matrix Switcher. We've explored its modular design, which is great for future-proofing. We've looked at that extensive suite of control options, making it usable for almost anyone. We dug into the HD-based T technology and why that's so powerful for sending signals reliably over long distances. And we've seen just how broadly these are being applied across all sorts of different settings. You should now have a really solid understanding of how a device like this can take complex AV setups and make them centralized, simplified, and just seamless.
Absolutely. And thinking about all this, it kind of raises an important question as we look forward, doesn't it? As our digital lives get more and more saturated with high-resolution content, 4K, 8K, HDR, and our homes and businesses demand these really integrated, really seamless media experiences, how are these intelligent AV switching solutions, like this WolfPack, going to keep evolving? What are the next steps? What new features or maybe connectivity standards might we see emerge? Things to handle even higher resolutions, maybe even more sources and displays simultaneously, or perhaps deeper, more advanced integration with AI and other smart home systems. It makes you think about your own setup, doesn't it? Where could a central AV hub like that, maybe not this exact one, but the concept, truly transform your own experience? Where could it take those imaginal world moments we started with and actually make them your reality?